Dean Leggy, Matt DeBerry, another edition of Riding Home, and it's the off season. Matt, Kirby has won 17 games against top 10 teams, which is a significant amount of wins. That's more than Vince Dooley had in his 25 years at Georgia, and more than Mark had in his 15 at Georgia. Um, why is he winning that many big games in this short amount of time?
Well, it's why they hired him, right? I mean, the whole thing with
Yeah.
Mark Rick was he's not winning big games down the stretch later in his career. He's not beating a lot of ranked teams. So they're getting exactly what they paid for in Kirby Smart. And they knew that he could build a program. They knew that he could recruit. The halftime speeches, the pregame speeches, the guy gets it. He gets his team up. The way they practice. I speak with recruits all the time who saw a spring practice and they're saying, that's the toughest practice, the that I've seen of any team. They really get after it. They work really hard. And we've said it again and again, iron sharpens iron. And when you fill your offense and defense with five-star players, they get better in practice. And multiple players have told us that the practices could be harder than the games. So, and I don't know if we're in a landscape of college football where there's just not a lot of great teams. And it feels like every week during the season, I'm like, this team's really a top 25 team. Wow, this team with 3 losses is really a top 25 team.
Hmm.
It just seems like, there are a lot of teams. You have to have 25 of them, right? So, when Kirby has the number one program, number two program, and you're playing number 20 South Carolina or number 15 Tennessee or 20 Florida, whoever it is, yeah, they should win those games. So it's not a surprise to me that they're winning consistently against good teams, top 25 teams. Some of them really aren't that good. But I think we're seeing exactly what we thought Kirby would be doing with this program.
I have not counted all the ranked wins. I'm only talking about top 10 wins for the record,
Oh,
too,
top
by the
10.
way.
Okay. Okay.
But I
I
mean,
missed that one. But
oh, okay, it's all right. But well, he's got a slew of ranked wins too. I will have to go back and look and see, because Mark had a lot of wins over ranked teams. I think the easy answer is that he's played in 3 college football playoffs, so there's 6 of the top 10 wins right there of the 17. But even if you think about it, Matt, that's 17 is about 2 top 10 wins a year. I mean, it's a little bit more or less than that. So, well, it's more than that. So this started, I mean, I'd have to go back and look, but I think every single year they've had a win over a top 10 team. Just going off memory, this is just going off memory. Auburn in 16 was a top 10 team. In 17, they beat Auburn in Atlanta as well as Oklahoma. In 2018, they beat Florida, who is ranked in the top 10. Florida again in 19. In 2020, they beat Auburn. I think Tennessee was a top 10 team when they played them,
well,
amazingly. Go
was
ahead.
Notre Dame in the top 10 in
They were
19?
in the top 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now you're going to make me go through and actually do it. I was
Well,
trying to
you're
go,
going off memory, and you were
I was,
doing a great job there. But
I was hanging in
that's
there.
one that kind of stands out to me.
That
But
Notre
yeah,
Dame game.
yeah. But he's got a lot of opportunities. Like you said, when you go to SEC championships and you're playing in the playoffs, you're going against obviously a top four team in the playoff, and
Right.
normally a top 10 team in the SEC title game, and they're getting the job done. And you can't ask for a much better record. Now, I don't know off the top of my head what Nick Saban did in his first 7 years, how many top 10 teams he
It's a
beat, or
good
Urban
question.
Meyer, so on and so on. But
Well, Urban,
you
I
have
don't think
to
was
think,
ever, I'm sorry, Matt, I don't think
yeah,
Urban was ever out of place for 7 years.
that's
No, I
that's
mean,
true.
I know he wasn't at Florida or Utah or
Yeah,
Bowling Green. So I couldn't say at Ohio State. It's probably close with Ohio State. Go ahead.
yeah. Um, I'm just not surprised though. So in 21, I think Arkansas, the team they beat by 30 plus
Well, here
points, I think
I'll
was a top
go,
10 team.
I'll,
Kentucky, there was a few in that year.
I'll go through it real quick. So 18, they beat number 9 Florida, number 9 Kentucky. In 19, they beat, as you were saying, number 7 Notre Dame, number 6 Florida, number 7 Baylor in the Sugar Bowl, which is really the last bowl game before everything changed, COVID and so forth. In 2020, they beat Auburn. Tennessee was not a top 10 team. I misspoke there. And then Cincinnati to end the season was a top team in 20. And 21, obviously, they played a lot of them in 21. They opened the season with a win over number 3 Clemson, Arkansas, and then they didn't play a top 10 team again until Michigan and Alabama. And last year in 2022 was their more sort of most decisive scheduling. What's the word? It was their most impressive run through a schedule. So you had number one. Now they were actually number two Tennessee in the AP poll. So Tennessee, Ohio State, and Texas Christian. But they also played Oregon and LSU involved in there too. So they played. They had wins over five ranked teams, but three of them were over top 10 teams. I mean, I think the record sort of speaks for itself, but it's a combination to me of, how many opportunities you get to play those teams, but winning them too. By the way, speaking of opportunity, right now people are still doing this. Our 2023 preview is out. Make sure you're picking it up. You can get it down below. It is available by itself. You can also pick it up at Red Zone. The link is down below. If you buy Double Dogs, you get the magazine for free. So take advantage of that now. Last year, I ran out of the magazine. I
That's a good
printed.
looking cover there. This is the
Oh,
first time
thank
I'm
you.
seeing the magazine. That's a good looking cover. That's
Seriously.
sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good looking. There's somebody right there you recognize, perhaps.
Yeah, I
You were
saw
there.
him
You were
play a
there.
good bit.
You were there that day, right?
I was not there that day, but I watched him play Halloween 2018 down in
You were
Jacksonville
not
before
there.
that
That
Florida thing.
you
I
know
was
what?
not
You
there.
were
No.
not there. I stand corrected. Some stuff on Brock Bowers as well. So pick that up when you get a shot. And they're going to. I don't know right now, Matt, who Georgia would play. That's top 10 coming into this 23 season. When you look at it, there's some room. There's some room to grow on the top 10. I don't know why this doesn't show their schedule quicker. When you go to Dawg Post, which was my mistake, it immediately shows you their schedule. But they just don't. I mean, South Carolina, I think, could be ranked coming into their game
Yeah.
with Georgia, but they probably won't be ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, Tennessee, I'm assuming could
Yes,
be. They
could be.
have Alabama, and I think they have another tough game before Georgia. I might be wrong there. I forgot who I'm thinking about. But what's just as impressive to me, Dean, is when I think over the last 6 years, how many losses they have that were not from a top 10 team. South Carolina 2019, they were not top 10.
Right.
In 2020, I don't think Florida was a top 10 team.
Oh no, they were.
LSU and okay, so
Oh
boom,
yeah.
that's one. Was LSU in 18? Were they? I think they were ranked. I don't know if they were top 10, but they
Well,
were.
I'll go back and look, but I believe
Yeah.
LSU was the number 8 team in the country. But
Okay.
they might have been 11. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Florida,
So
Florida,
maybe.
Florida, for the
Yeah.
record, in 20 was number 8.
So I guess not including 2016, right? Which you could do that. That's his first year, not really his team yet, but
Yeah.
2017 on is South Carolina. 2019, I guess that might be the only unranked team that beat Georgia in the
Yes.
last 6 years for sure, and maybe the only team that I don't
So
remember what
here,
Texas was, but
so Texas and LSU, those were both like not good losses. I'll say that.
no.
But the LSU game, LSU was number 13. They wound up ranked in the top 10 by the end of the year. And then Texas was 15. I think they wound up ranked in the top 10, as did Alabama, obviously. But and then in 19, the loss to South Carolina in 19 was such a strange occurrence that it's hard to say that something like that would happen again. It could. That's the other thing, Matt. I was going through statistics the other day. That Carolina loss is the only loss where the opposition had fewer than 100 yards passing and beat Georgia. It's the only loss where the opposition had fewer than, I think it's the only one where they had fewer than 20 points and beat Georgia under Kirby Smart, or 20 points or fewer. And so that game was such a strange outlier that it's hard to, I mean, it would be like the day a tornado came to your hometown. I mean, like, these are just not normal games, and they just turned the ball over too much. Jake Fromm really did not play well that day.
Yeah, Tyler Simmons did not play well. That's the
No,
I
yeah,
hate saying this. We beat ourselves. They didn't beat us, but Georgia shot themselves in the foot over and over in that game, and that's
yes,
really the only game where I can say that. I mean, Auburn beat them handily in 2017. LSU
hmm
earned that victory in
hmm
18. Florida earned it in 20, but Georgia should have beat South Carolina a
Yeah.
number of different ways. Rodrigo missing the field goal. I mean, they just played bad as a team, and they haven't played that bad since that game. I mean, they really kind of did beat themselves in that one, which is something we might. I say we might never see that under a Kirby Smart coach team. They're a lot more talented too, and they're going to have better quarterback play since Jake Fromm. That would be a major step back, I think, if they ever have a guy
Yes.
at Jake Fromm's level,
Right.
seeing what they're bringing in and what's already on the roster. But that's just where this program is. They're not getting upset like that anymore, in my opinion. I say anymore. I don't know how long Kirby's going to be there, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon. And because he's built the number one program in the country.
Yeah, it's amazing to confirm that, but that's in fact what's happened.